Hey everybody, it's Kara Wong and I'm here today with Karen Gibbard, our leading lady, and we are going to talk about smashing through glass ceilings.
Yes, so I had 4 siblings. I have 3 sisters and a brother. Grew up in a small town. When I left to come to Vancouver and go to university, there was 9,000 people in my big part of the I was from the Comox Valley, so there was 9,000 people at the time, so super small.
Yeah.
And my dad was a sergeant in the military, so pretty rough guy, and we didn't have a lot of money. I only wore hand-me-downs for my older sisters as clothes. I never got any really new clothes, and I find that some of that upbringing has really stayed with me and taught me to be a very humble, modest person, because that's who I am.
So Karen, how did you end up in the career you're in?
When I was younger, I went traveling right after school. And my sister worked at a bank, so when I came back from traveling, I obviously needed to get a job, find a career, and she said, go into the bank. And so I did, and I learned that I really liked working with people, and I really liked working with paper of all things. I know that sounds goofy, but I'm a great administrator. I love typing stuff out or writing things out. And I slowly worked my way into the loans department and absolutely fell in love with loans and mortgages. So since I was probably 19 or 20, I've been working in a loans department in some capacity, and I've never stopped loving it since.
How do you deal with women who are threatened by your success?
Luckily enough, it hasn't happened a lot, but when I was younger, it actually did happen a few times. And one of them was when I first became a mortgage broker. The deals were coming in, I was fairly busy, and a BDM at the time had suggested the reason why I was so busy in getting deals was because maybe I was doing some extracurricular activities with some of the realtors, which is so far from the truth if you know me.
Yeah.
But anyways, rather than having a fit about it or approaching her in a negative way, I took her out for lunch, and we had a lovely lunch. And I sat down with her and I said, I heard you've been saying these things, and I just want to set the record straight that A, I don't do that, but B, as women, we should be cheerleaders for each other, and we should be sticking up for each other. And when things are said about women that are untrue, we should be the ones standing up and saying no to that. We have to stick by each other because that's all we've got. And ever since then, I haven't really heard anything.
How and why did you become an entrepreneur?
Well, I don't really see myself as an entrepreneur so much as a salesperson, but I had a really high limit at the bank. So in today's dollars, it was probably close to like $1 million limit where you could sign things. At that time, you could be really rational in how you were approaching loans and mortgages to approve them. So it was really, you had so much flexibility. And it was so much fun in those days. And I don't mean you signed everything. I just meant that you were able to step back and take a look at the whole picture before making a decision on it. Well, as soon as we became more formula-based lenders, and at that time, we all lost our signing authority, I lost the flexibility to do what was best for the client. So that's when I became a mortgage broker, because I thought if I'm losing the flexibility anyways, I'm only able to offer this client one product at this point, and now I've lost that flexibility. I might as well become a mortgage broker so that I can offer my clients all sorts of different options. Oftentimes when I'm in a meeting, and there's usually a number of men around, and I will think, oh, I have a really good idea or something to interject. And I hold myself back and don't say it because I think that they're going to think I'm dumb or that I don't add value. And so I kind of bite my tongue on it, and I always get mad at myself because not 5 minutes later, but the guy, 2 seats over comes up with a similar idea and everybody thinks it's wonderful. So I think how I'm starting to get over it is I'm starting to just speak up.
Good.
And they can think I'm a dummy, they can think whatever they want, I don't care. I'm going to speak up. So I was actually at a roundtable discussion with a new lender coming into town, and it was 9 men and me. And the 9 men it was pretty rough. The language was rough. I definitely felt like the only woman there, without question. Normally I don't feel that, but it was very apparent. Yeah. And then I thought, to heck with it, I don't care. I'm going to say what I believe. I'm going to ask questions that I have. And I think, honestly, I came out of that meeting more empowered than ever, because they listened to me, they understood me, and I think they respected me for doing that.
What's the best way to address the social challenges women face and the behavior that society deems acceptable towards them?
I think be respectful and just be cognizant of the fact that you're not being a bitch. You're making a tough decision or you're asking a tough question, and that you demand respect for that. And as soon as you start saying, I demand respect for it, and I'm not saying you say it out loud, but in your own self,
Yes.
I think you emanate that and people will start respecting that.
What do you do to overcome fear?
Working on it.
Yeah.
I am incredibly shy and I'm an introvert. So to be speaking in public or to go to some of these meetings with 9 different men around the table, I'm incredibly shy to do that. So I'm just pressing forward, thinking that I do have some value to bring, and I just am starting to just do it.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds goofy, but I think once you envision your success and you do it and you succeed at doing it, then it sets you up the next time. Okay, I did well the last time, so I'm going to be okay this time, in whatever it is. If you never try and you never face that fear, you'll never have that confidence. So it's got to start somewhere. Now mine started at 50, unfortunately. So
better late than never.
That's right. So it's just now I'm envisioning the success in whatever I'm trying to do, and I'm getting there slowly but surely. Yeah.
Knowing what you know today, what piece of advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Couple of pieces. One is, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Throughout my life, I've been told so many times, don't bother, don't waste your time, you can't do that. And I've always said, why don't you let me try? At the very least, let me try. And I've had that optimism. So if young women can just, if they really want to do something, give it a try. If they fail, okay. They were going to not do it anyways, but at least this way, what if they succeed?
Right.
So that's kind of my number one thing, is just try.
Okay.
Number 2 thing is find out who you are as quickly as you can, and I mean who you are to your core. So if you're a shy person, if you're an extrovert, whatever you are, find out who that is, and then try to embellish that. Like, try to be honest with yourself, be honest with the people around you, so that you're not giving a false indicator of who you are. And I think once you find that, that's going to help you in sales to be more authentic in your selling. It's going to help you in your interpersonal relationships. It's going to help you at the corporate level, but you have to know who you are first.
Absolutely.
And then put it out there.
Yeah.
What's something people don't know about you that would surprise them?
Well, I know what you think I'm going to say, but I'm actually a really good cook, and I cook dinner for my family almost every single night.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I never cooked dinner. I'm feeling very inferior right now.
No, it's just something that I think it's important for, well, first of all, I'm cheap. So if we're not eating out all the time, then you're saving a ton of money. Secondly, I think it's super healthy because you're not drinking alcohol, you're not having a lot of fats and things like that in your diet. But thirdly, it's the one time where my family knows. The 3 of us are sitting at the table, even if it's for 25 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, and we're going to talk about our day. And I know that sounds like, the perfect mommy thing, but it's just something that I do, and I've rearranged my schedule around supporting that.
So how do you manage juggling being a mother and a successful businesswoman? How do you do all of that and make it work?
Well, first of all, it's very tough, and I don't make it work all the time, but I really do strive to do that. So 2 things. One is choices. Everything's choices to me. So if I've been working really hard, maybe putting a few extra hours in, and a Thursday night comes along and maybe a lender wants to have a function. So I have a choice of going out to the lender function, which I love and I want to have fun there, or I have the choice of spending the time with my family that I haven't maybe seen as much as I want to see. Guess what's going to win every time? It's going to be my family.
Yeah.
So I'm making those choices constantly, and my family wins 90% of the time on those things. And then the second thing is I'm trying desperately to reorganize my day to make sure I can squeeze it all in. So for instance, I moved my office into my home. So that frees up, I have no more commuting time. I have no more people stopping by the office to have a cup of coffee or to have a chit chat or to try to sell me their product, which is maybe a good thing, bad thing, but when I'm looking at pure productivity and wanting to have this balance, I have to make sure I squeeze as much as I can into that 8-hour or 9-hour workday that I can possibly do. So what I'm trying right now is to get up at 5. I know your eyes just went wide. I'm not a morning person at all, but I love it when I actually accomplish it. And my mind sparks quite well at 5. My body doesn't, so that's perfect. I get up and I start work. So I work from about 5 to 9. Perfect world, I should stop at that point, maybe go to the gym or take a longer break, but I end up kind of working in between. But what getting up at 5 allows me to do is get into my kitchen by 4:30 to prep and make a really nice dinner for my family at 5:36.
What is your spirit animal?
Well, I was hoping it was going to be like a cheetah or something like that. I'm an owl.
You're an owl.
And then when I read deeper, I realized that, yes, I probably am an owl.
Really?
So I'm wise.
Yes.
I'm intuitive. I think that means old, but anyways, I'm wise and I'm intuitive. I can see through people and if they're putting on a facade, and I'm open to change and to adventures, which I definitely am. On a business level, no, not so much. On a personal level, absolutely. So if I was to draw I wish I'd done this 10 years ago, written down some of my personal goals. So, to be living downtown, to be spending every summer in Croatia, and all these kind of weird things that I wanted to accomplish. And I took today and I wrote down what my life is like, and I put them, they would be almost exact.
Wow.
I know, and it wasn't that I wrote down the plan or anything like that. I always had it in my mind, and I was always working towards it. Work-wise, I just work. I plod along, I do, and it's worked out very well for me. But it's 10 years ago or now, I guess I'm doing the same thing. I'm just maybe a little bit busier now.
What's your definition of success?
Well, first of all, I'm old, so I've been in the business a long time, but I work hard. I have an incredible work ethic, so it's not all about your numbers or what you make or anything like that. To me, it's all about, if a client needs a mortgage, I just want to get them the mortgage. That's it. It's very, very simple. I work my butt off.
What has been the most significant barrier in your career?
The only thing that holds me back is me. And that's the joy of being in sales, right? It's not like I'm having to apply for jobs and hope to get them and apply for the next job. It's sales, so it's what you want to do will dictate whether you're going to be successful or not. And so the only thing that has held me back my entire life is my confidence. Can I do it? I've had so many opportunities in my lifetime that I've turned down because I didn't think I could do it. And now, as I said, becoming 50, I'm starting to take advantage of those opportunities. So we'll see what happens in the next little bit, but I can say the biggest block for me was actually me.
How do you approach risk-taking?
Well, I'm not a risk taker.
Yeah.
Very much. But I guess you assess the risk. Am I going to die from it? That would be like that side of the pendulum.
Yes.
Or could I be incredibly successful if it works out? So I guess I assess the risk first. And if I'm not going to die from it, or I'm not going to lose my job from it, or my house from it, or something like that, I'm kind of tempted to do a little bit more of it.
Have you had a mentor in your life or somebody who was a role model, someone who helped you get where you are today?
Yeah, I have. One fellow in particular, and he probably doesn't know he's my mentor, but when I got into the brokerage industry, actually prior to that, when I was in sales, doing mortgages on the road, I had worked with him, and we'd go out for coffee every week or every couple of weeks, and I would pick his brain, and I would learn about his business. I would be asked, he knew lots of people in the brokerage business, so I was asking him a lot of questions, and he's a very well-educated man, and he was always so lovely to me, and he never made me feel like I was stupid or asking dumb questions. He was always such a big supporter. So he was starting his kind of business the same time that I was starting to come into the brokerage world, and I could watch what he was doing and ask him about it, and then try to figure out in my own way how I could accomplish the same kind of thing. And so this happened, and to this day, we still meet, maybe not as much anymore, like probably once every 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just lovely to know that you have that person that you can go to without, they have no judgment, and they're going to help you. And hopefully now I can help him as well. I don't know if I'll be his mentor, but I can certainly give him a different view on things.
So what is the one characteristic that you think every leader should possess?
I think it's compassion. And when I say compassion, I mean compassion for a bunch of different people. So for your staff, for a client, for your boss, for anybody working around you, because you don't know what kind of life they have, what kind of day they've had, or anything. Whereas if you can step back before making assumptions or maybe treating somebody in a way that they're not going to appreciate because they've just had a really crappy day, I think that's the number one thing. Stop, put yourself in their shoes for a little bit, and then make decisions. At least that's how I try to do it in my business. I try to have compassion for everybody, the realtors, the lenders, my staff, and the clients.
That's great. So so what happens when you have a bad day?
Well, first of all, I try my best not to lash out to my friends, my family especially, because that's usually who gets it.
Sure.
So for instance, I don't know if you noticed this, I've had a bad back for about a week, and I'm talking severely bad back. I have a heating pad on it right now.
Oh my goodness.
I can't sleep without it. I haven't slept for probably a week very well. So I'm probably a little bit more disagreeable than normal.
Sure.
And I was talking to my husband, he said, "Oh, you don't seem like you're disagreeable." And it's because I don't want to take it out on anybody. So I just tend to be maybe a bit more quiet. I won't take out my personal stuff on other people because that's not fair to them. And I don't certainly want their personal stuff taken out on me.
What is your stress outlet, and what do you do to sort of have some Karen Gibbard time?
That is a work in progress. There's not much left at the end of the day for Karen Gibbard. I do try to work out, or I try to go to yoga, or I try to go to karate. Probably karate is my biggest outlet, because you go in there, you put your gloves on, you fight. So if you've had a bad day and you're a bit frustrated and you punch somebody in the face, your stress is gone. So I guess that right now would be the outlet. But because I don't like getting my hair done, I don't like getting my nails done, I don't like getting a facial. To me, it's just the biggest waste of time ever. So I don't enjoy those practices that generally women would go to have relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, it's an absolute work in progress, because you know, as a woman, as a working person with kids and a husband and all that stuff, you always come last.
Yeah.
And I definitely, on a personal level, I definitely come last, and I'm working on changing that.
So you have a black belt in karate, which is pretty like, it's pretty special and unique. So how did you go about getting that, and why?
Well, I originally got into karate because I thought it would be a great way to stay in shape. But then I realized it's such a deeper level than that. I am from Courtenay, which is known for a fighting town, bar fighting. I've never bar fought in my life, but they're known for it. So we always joke that I'm a Courtenay fighter because I have no fear in the ring. I don't care, I'm going to come after you. And I don't know where that comes from, but they call me, 250 area code kind of thing. But I think that I never want to be seen as a victim in my personal life and in my work life. So women can easily be thought of as being a victim, and I never want to be seen as that.
Yeah.
I am the same as a man in a lot of ways. Yes, I maybe have a different physique, but I want to be able to stand up to a man if there was ever an issue and feel confident about it. And it's really about confidence, not so much about technique. Karate techniques, they're nice and they're flashy, but is that going to get you out of something? Maybe, maybe not. But having that confidence to hold your head high, so when I'm walking down the street in a dark alley or something like that, and I'm holding my head high, I'm not looking down at my phone, I'm not hunched over, I'm back and I'm looking around. there's less people that are going to go after me than somebody that's meek and mild. And same in the business world. When I'm feeling intimidated by, maybe there's a client sitting across from my desk, a man, and he thinks he's all that, I'll stand up. I'll stand up behind my desk. And usually that's when I try to walk them out the door. I'll stand up and they stand up, and then you start walking them out the door. But I'll stand up if I need some power, or I'll sit straight if I need more power. And it just, I don't know, karate has given me the confidence that on a physical level, I'm going to be a good fight. And on a mental level, it's also given me the confidence that I'm going to give a man a good fight in a mental capacity as well.
How have you handled failures in your life, or how have you overcome a setback?
Well, I think the number one thing is learn from them. Learn from your mistakes. When you screw up, take a step back, go, okay, how could I have handled this differently, or what went wrong? And then when you do it another time, try that new angle that you've thought of. But I think number one, learn from your mistakes. Some really big setbacks, I think maybe you go and you lick your wounds a bit, take some private moments, and then you move forward as if it didn't happen, and be that strong individual so that you can overcome it, just not for you so much, but for the whole company, or for the client, or for whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think you just have to just push forward as hard as you can.
Thank you, Verico, for your generous sponsorship in making this video possible.